What's up, guys? Spin Firearms here. Yes. The answer is yes. But before you get started, hit the like button, drop a comment down below, and subscribe. Let's talk about 40 Smith & Wesson. Nowadays, almost everybody and their brother, their sister, their wife, their cousin, whoever, they carry a 9mm. 9mm has so many amazing options out there because every single everyday carry handgun out there is basically chambered in 9mm. You can find unlimited options, so many handguns that can fit your hand, your needs, your wants for concealed carry. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Doesn't matter if you're carrying a .22 long rifle, even though I highly suggest against it simply because it's an unreliable caliber in a pistol form. I definitely recommend 380 and above, but having something on you is a big part of the battle. A big part of the battle is just having a firearm on you because 78% of the time when someone needs a firearm in self-defense, all they have to do is say they have a firearm or draw it. They don't even have to let a round go. That's the other 22% of the time. So just having something on you, that's all you need, right? So there's nothing wrong with 9mm. Most of my carry guns, 9mm. Most of my favorite handguns, 9mm. But there are so many great reasons to get a 40 Smith & Wesson. Let's talk about it. I'll just go through these real quick, which ones these are, and then we'll keep going. Right here, Glock 23. Bought this used. You can find these used for about $300, $350. Doesn't really matter. It's a Glock. It's just going to run. Left me a little bit of extra money to throw a couple more things on it, and yeah. Glock 27, my personal favorite 40 Smith & Wesson out there. Unbelievable when it comes to how versatile it is. Love it. My favorite pocket rocket in 40, Smith & Wesson M&P 40 Shield Performance Center. This outshoots every handgun on the table. This small little handgun is less recoil than this 23. This small little handgun, less recoil than this. If you don't believe me, go rent one or buy one, and you will see this thing is a beast. So even though it's only 7+1 with mag guts, that's that little gold, 8 rounds of 40, it's getting the job done. Sorry, guys, I put my faith in my training and my reliable handguns and good defensive ammo. M&P 40C, one of my favorite 40 Smith & Wessons right here. 10+1 of 40. These were law enforcement backups. That's actually where I got it from. This is from a law enforcement officer. This was their backup to their full-size M&P 40. And this thing's a beast. You can't find these anymore unless you find them used online, which I have seen them a lot, or even Bass Pro Shop. Very little recoil. HK P2000 SK, what can I say about this handgun other than it's powerful and reliable? Now, people's number one argument for 9mm, which makes sense, is the technology in 9mm ammo has just skyrocketed. You know, this is the pinnacle point for defensive ammo. They make the best right now. But here's the thing, guys. What makes people think that just because they only work on 9mm, they don't use the technology anywhere else? They definitely do. There's some if you think 9mm ballistics out of handguns like this are great with the new technology, look at some of these 40 rounds. Do your research and check. Now, there's always that question, do ballistics really matter? Is, foot-pound energy, does it really matter? Hitting that 500 foot-pound of energy, is that really going to stop someone in their tracks? Is it more about shot placement, time in between shots that hit, stuff like that? There's a lot of debate, right? And like I said, all you need is to have something on you. But there's one major thing that your 9mm can't do. They can't be a 40. There's a bunch of things a 40 can do. They can become a 9mm. They can become a 357 SIG. And even in some cases, I can throw a Glock or a 22 long rifle on my Glock 27. A 22 long rifle upper on my Glock 27. Sorry, can't talk. So all these can be converted to 9mm. They can stay in 40, 357 SIG, and even some of them have 22 long rifle conversion kits. Now, what's nice about it is the ammo that's out here, right? And we're going to talk about some of the ammo. Reason I like 40 Smith & Wesson. One, it does give a little extra power. And I tell this story, you can see it in other videos, about someone who had to use their 27 in self-defense, and it took them 8 rounds at point-blank range. They literally had 2 rounds left when they were done. 9+1 in the head, right? And if that was a Glock 26 and 9mm, I always ask myself, would that person be alive to this day, right? So that's what I always ask myself. Can you shoot a 40 just as good as a 9? Yes. This trigger is the same as my Glock 26 trigger. There is no reason you can't shoot as accurately with this handgun as the Glock in 9mm. Speed-wise, yes, this is going to be a little bit slower than a 9mm, but once again, if you train, you can get fast as can be with a 40. I am extremely fast with this Performance Center. I'm extremely fast with this Glock 23. So, knowing that I can shoot a 40 accurately and fast, that little extra power, I have a feeling, is going to help me out, right? Another thing about 40. Now, I don't recommend it. I definitely recommend a 10mm in the woods. But if you had to, you could throw some hardcast, 200 grain hardcast in your Glock 23 and carry it in bear country. Now, I don't recommend it, but you could get away with it and defend yourself against basically anything in North America. There's Underwood Extreme Defender rounds, Extreme Penetrator rounds, hardcast, Civil Liberty Defense. There's literally so many amazing rounds in 40. Having that extra power, in my opinion, is a great option. And like I said, another reason, right? 9mm is carried by probably 90% of people who carry. Therefore, 90% of the ammo that's being bought up is in 9mm. When crap hits the fan, do you remember the last pandemic? I know I was shooting my 40s. I was shooting my 45s. I was shooting my 45 GAPs. 9mm was the hardest round to find during the pandemic. And if you don't think they're going to pull crap like that again, or have a situation like that happen again in the future, or ammo shortages, you're crazy. It will happen again. Therefore, when I have my 40s, I will still be shooting, still be training, and still be able to find ammo, right? But on top of that, if I want, I just go out and buy a conversion barrel, and I can make this a 9mm in Glock 26. Now, obviously, follow the steps with your extractors and ejectors and stuff like that, but you can do it. For me, 40 Smith & Wesson is an amazing round. It's a very potent round. Some of these double tap rounds and stuff like that are absolutely insane. Now, the reason why a lot of people don't carry it is the world is getting softer and softer and softer. People can't handle the recoil. What you need to do is get out and train more. Shoot more. You're not going to get good at handling recoil if you're only, with a 40, if you're only shooting a 9mm. You can shoot all these handguns just as accurately as their 9mm counterparts. That's all about your trigger pull. You should not be flinching and dropping, rounds. So which every now and then we all do it. But 40 Smith & Wesson, in my opinion, is one of the greatest rounds out there. Same with 357 SIG. I don't care what people say. You can still find this ammo everywhere. Shoot, I'm carrying a Glock 39 in 45 GAP right now. Beast of a round. One of my most accurate handguns. Powerful. Very small. Concealable. Love this setup right here like crazy, right? So I love bigger rounds. To me, I feel a little bit better carrying a large round. Another reason, I travel a lot. And unfortunately, I travel to some mag-restricted states. I was just in New Jersey, stuff like that. Having a 40 in a small setup is huge. I'd rather take 7+1 of 40 over 7+1 of 9mm. If I was only given two options to travel with, 9+1 of 40 Smith & Wesson or 10+1 of 9mm, I am taking the 40 Smith & Wesson every time, 10 times over. Just that little extra power with relatively similar capacity, same shootability, to me is definitely 100% worth it. But I know you guys aren't going to agree, so drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching.